And welcome to Nintendo at Gamescom, everyone. And with that, hello and welcome to the Nintendo RedCube. As always, I'm joined by some friendly faces, my friends from Nintendo of Europe. It's Chris and Filippo.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
I have to be honest, I'm super excited for this show because I'm a huge Xenoblade fan.
Yeah, how many hours did you sink into Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
I think I have like 600 now.
Wow.
Maybe 580, something like that.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I just
Incredible.
love it so much. And today we're going to talk about the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 story expansion, Torna, the Golden Country.
That's right.
And I'm so excited. Did I say that? I'm so excited.
We are too. We are also all big fans of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And we want to start by showing the new cast of characters of Torna, the Golden Country story
Yes.
expansion. Torna, the Golden Country, the story expansion, takes place 500 years before the story of the main game.
Right.
And it is quite an interesting expansion because it's almost like a full game. We are also selling it as a retail, so you can also buy it in stores, or you can have it as downloadable when you have purchased the expansion pass for the main game.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so Filippo, can you tell us a little bit about where we are right now? Because we are not at the beginning of the story expansion. We actually already ventured towards the Torna Titan, where we find a very unique environment now.
Yes, so the Torna Titan, Torna is a completely new environment in Torna, the Golden Country story expansion. And here we are, I would say, roughly, slightly before the midway point through the game.
Okay.
This is, we think 30 to 40 hours content. And here we are, for the first time we have arrived, well, not exactly for the first time, but we are in Torna. And on the background, you see the tower down there. That's Auresco, the royal capital city of Torna. And our objective today is to reach the capital city. We are in this desertic area now, and it is the first time in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that we actually see this type of environment, this big desert environment.
Well, we've seen a little bit of it, a glimpse of it in trailers before.
Yes.
But this is the first time that we can really show the gameplay and how traversing through this desert really feels very different from what we've experienced in Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
That's true. And also I wanted to give a warning to our fans. We will try, for the most part, to not give you any sort of spoilers for the storyline. This is also something that is quite interesting in this story expansion. As it takes place 500 years before, you can really approach the game both ways. So you could play the main game and then play the expansion, or you could even play the expansion first and then play the main game.
That's good to know, yeah.
Yes, because some of the mysteries of the main game are not revealed here, are not spoiled here, and at the same time there are new plot twists and new mysteries that are here that are not talked about in the main story. So really you can approach this both ways.
So I think all of our heroes here are standing ready to explore the Danik Desert.
Yes.
So maybe let's have a little scenic walk.
Yes. So this desert looks really beautiful, although it is a dangerous place. Creatures here are pretty aggressive, I would say. And yeah, we need to pay attention to what we're doing. I've died multiple times preparing for this presentation.
But
I hope
it
I
really
won't
is
do
a
it
very
here.
different feel.
Yes, the fighting system has changed very much. But first and foremost, I wanted to talk a little bit about our cast of characters and who are we playing as in this story expansion. And for that, I will go into the menu and actually show you the full cast of characters.
All right.
So there are 3 teams that you control in Torna, the Golden Country. We have Team Laura, and here we have Laura, who is a driver, so one of the heroes of this world. And her 2 blades are Jin. Blades are the creatures that are not really humans, that are powering up our drivers. So we have Jin, who is one of the main characters in the main story.
Yeah.
And, well, you know, you've played the game. He's a bit of a grey kind of personality in the main story. Here he's definitely a good guy, and it's a lot of the story here in Torna, the Golden Country is about what happens to him and what happens to Laura, and sort of how this changes his perspective on the world.
But as you mentioned before, it's because it focuses on Jin. It's a story that if you played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the first time and you jump in with Torna, the Golden Country, it makes a lot of sense because it's a story that revolves around Jin.
Yes.
Whereas if you have played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the main game, it feels like it's a story that deepens the background of Jin.
Exactly.
Exactly. You want to know more about Laura and about everything, like
Yes.
Torna and in general.
All of these events are only hinted at in the main game, and here you really see the story developing.
Yeah.
Then we have Hayes as the second blade of Laura. Hayes was also a character in the main game. We're not going to talk too much about it, but here she is. Then we have Team Adam. Adam is the crown prince of Torna, fourth in line to the throne. And this character is heavily talked about in the main game, but is always shown in a hoodie. So here you see the design of this character, and we will also be able to hear the voice actor for Adam. Then we have Mithra, obviously the Aegis, one of the strongest beings that ever existed in the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And we see her in, how she was 500 years before. Minoth. Minoth is an NPC in the main game, and here we see him as this really badass ninja with two daggers, which are really cool. Then we have Team Hugo. Hugo is the current Emperor of Morardain. Morardain is another Titan, one of these giant creatures in which all of the inhabitants of the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 live. And him being the Emperor is always together with his Royal Guard. Yeah. The Royal Guard made of Brigid and Aegeon. And these also are blades that you find in the main story, but again, here they're a bit different. They are protecting this Emperor, so it's really a different cast of characters. Unlike the main game, where you collect rare blades and random blades, this is the cast of characters that stays for the entire adventure in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Golden Country, Torna, the Golden Country. And so it's a much more intimate story. It's about these 9 people and the people that surround them.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I personally find very appealing, because sometimes found it a bit overwhelming to collect so many different blades in the main game. And I've heard some people have some blade traumas because they still miss 1 or 2 rare blades after 580 hours. But
who might you be talking about?
No, but this really is a story where you have these 3 teams. Each team consists of a driver and 2 blades, and that's the story that is being told.
Exactly. So we got into a fight as this Antol, this giant insect, is very aggressive with me. And I don't want to make the entire presentation about the fight system, but I do need to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so let's start a little bit in the bottom right corner, because that's the basis of everything, the normal arts.
Yes, so your character is out to attack with normal attacks, and these attacks charge the arts that you see in the lower right part of the interface. And when they are charged, you can execute them for extra damage and special effects. This was the same. This was the case also in the main game, but in Torna the Golden Country story expansion, what we have is that we can have direct control of both drivers and blades with a mechanic called switch arts. So now you see I have control of Flora. If I press up on the D-pad, if I press up on the D-pad, there you go. Jin comes in, and I have now direct control of Jin, who has completely different arts and different skills.
That's so good.
I can control both of my blades, so if I press, in this case, left, I switch from Jin to Hayes. Hayes is a healer, and I can heal my characters like this. So the combat system is actually much more dynamic. You really need to be on your toes and switch characters every time to create different effects.
Yeah, but it also, what is nice is that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 already had this idea that every ability that you have at your disposal is at the touch of a button. And this streamlines that even further, because now by switching between the drivers and the blades, the abilities that you have expand even further without the need to press more buttons.
Exactly. There is something that is also quite interesting. You have Rearguard arts and Vanguard arts.
Yeah, because just to explain this concept, the character that's standing in front is the Vanguard position, and the character that's standing in the back is the Rearguard position. And it's always either the driver or one of the blades that is in front and then the other one in the back because they are connected to each other.
Exactly, and you have arts for when you're in the Rearguard and arts when you're in the Vanguard. You can level them up all individually, so you have a lot of control on how your characters. There's another one.
These Ansel really are very aggressive.
Well, I mean, look at their size.
Well, yeah.
There is something else that is different that I want to talk about. You see now in the upper left corner of the interface that there is a part of my HP that is red. If you look at Laura's HP, it's red. HP bar is shared between teams. So
this red bit is what you already took as damage, right?
Yes, I already took a bit of that damage, and this HP bar is shared between all of Team Laura. So Jean also has the same HP. You see now they attack me. I've received more red damage, and similar to a fighting game sometimes where you have multiple characters. If I switch Jean in now, bam! All of my red HP is healed. So this is another way to keep you on your toes, make the game dynamic. And find an alternative way to heal your characters through attacks.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is one of the fascinating things of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fighting system, and even more so of the Torna the Golden Country expansion fighting system, that so much is happening on the screen. You see all these damage numbers flying on the screen. But in the end, if you know what you're doing, it is a matter of very few button presses, because you know exactly when to use arts, when to use switch arts, when to switch positions. Filippo is now just showing off, actually.
So the system of chain attacks has remained. You have when you do elemental arts, when you do blade arts, you attach these elemental orbs to the characters that you can then burst with chain attacks.
I find this was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, it was totally unnecessary. I just wanted to show off the animations.
And like you said before, Chris, even Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the game that we already know and love, it already had the opportunity to like make everything so much easier compared to like previous Xenoblade titles.
Yeah.
Like using the skills, switching around the blades and everything. That was so easy in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and it's now even enhanced in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 story expansion, Torna the Golden Country.
Just because your characters attack automatically doesn't mean that you don't need to pay attention. No, you always have to.
Well, it's very much about timing and paying attention. That's also what makes the fighting system so engaging. Yeah. And I think, personally, I think it's really cool that you now have direct control of each of these 9 characters, because it also means that it really feeds into the kinds of strategies that suit you.
Yeah.
Especially when it's related to breaking, toppling, launching characters.
Yes, so speaking of which, I wanted to showcase 2 more elements of the fighting system, which are, first of all, you talked about breaking and toppling. These are driver arts, driver combos, which are already in the main game. So now I am breaking, hopefully, with Laura using Hungry Snake, one of her moves. And then you see, as I come in with Jin will topple automatically as he come into battle, because there are arts as well that are called switch arts. So every character, whenever they are switched in, they will perform a special ability. They will perform a new art.
Yeah, so switching in from the Rearguard into the Vanguard position.
Yes. So, for example, in this case, I can break with Laura, and then coming in with Jin, I will topple.
And there's actually some really cool combos that you can continue to do so if you really make use of every character's ability.
Break, topple, smash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Break, topple, launch, and smash. Exactly.
Yeah, right. Oh, what I'm seeing right now, if I might say something about that, like we just saw the mineral that you're, or the fish that you're trying to get out of the little sea or water.
The collection
thing,
point,
right?
yes.
Yeah, exactly. It had this really small item, like, which is new.
Yes, it's a little change in the interface.
There
where
we see it.
In a collection point, before you wouldn't know what the collection point was.
Yeah.
Now you have this icon, so I know that I'm gonna collect flowers from here.
Yeah.
When you're looking for a specific item, you maybe don't want to look for everything, so now you know exactly what you're gonna get from that collection point, which is nice, I think, for people that really want to collect specific items. And we'll talk a little bit more how this feeds into another new mechanic that has been introduced into the story expansion.
And you told me that you, I'm sorry, that you even see the quality of the material that you're going to get.
Yes, so you saw that those flowers that we just got, they were called Pretty Wildflowers, and the collection point was yellow.
Yeah.
There are other collection points that are white, other collection points that are purple, so you also see the quality of the collection point. So now we are going into the capital city, we are approaching Auresco, and when we will reach the staircase, a cutscene will start. I'm saying this just, there are some of our fans that absolutely do not want to see any cutscene, nothing at all. So as soon as I go up these stairs, a cutscene will start. If you don't want to be spoiled, just skip 2 minutes of the video. And when you see us again, then you know that the cutscene is over. So I'm going there now.
I love these so much.
What's not right?
This Titan. Why isn't it in its real form?
You noticed?
What do you mean?
That isn't the original form of the Torna Titan. In ancient times, the Tornan Titan held awesome power. Torna made use of that power to dominate all the rest for 1,000 years. But the power was shut away in the reign of Electos I. Since then, the Titan has looked like this. See that glowing sphere in the castle tower? That forms the seal.
Is that what Maus is aiming for?
Why would he do that? Wouldn't it be a threat to him too?
Truthfully, I don't know myself. But in any case, if he makes a move for it, it is clear what we must do.
Agreed.
You can see the palace in the distance. We should head there first. Offer our report to His Majesty.
There we go. This was interesting cutscene, not too much detail, but just a few details about the origin of this Titan. And we are now in Auresco, the royal capital. One thing I wanted to say, because we heard the voice of Adam, Japanese and English voice acting will be included from the start in the game.
Yeah, what I really like about Auresco is that it has a very unique vibe. It has this sort of Japanese feudal vibe combined with a more medieval kind of setting and this little Xenoblade flavor.
Yes, so now that we are going around the capital city, of course there's lots of NPCs, we can notice this almost like pagoda style roofs together with brick buildings, together with metal decoration. It's really like a fusion of feudal Japan and medieval Europe, in my opinion. So I just wanted to show one more thing about the capital, just to give again this this feeling. You see here these structures, and as we approach the royal palace, we see a beautiful Zen garden of sorts. It's quite cool again how these areas mix, and we see here the tower that is at the center of the capital city. But we don't want to spoil too much of all the things you can do in this capital city, so we're now going to talk about another system that fans of the series of Xenoblade Chronicles might remember from Xenoblade Chronicles 1. It's not exactly the same, but there is quite a similarity with the affinity system of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 with this new system that we call community. And communities are, well, I'm just going to travel to Gormott, another Titan now. So I'm gonna just hide the map so I don't spoil every location of the game, and I'm gonna teleport to another Titan here.
So meanwhile, Tim, what was your favorite travel destination in Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
I actually like Gormod a lot because that's where you like spend some time with Nia in the beginning. I really like Nia as a character because it's a really interesting story with her. And I like the whole vibe around Gormod, like the creatures, flora, fauna, everything. It's so beautiful.
Also a huge Titan.
Yeah.
Yes, and now you will find that as you visit the continent, the Titan of Gormod, 500 years before the events of the main storyline, you will find it quite different from what you remember. A lot of the landscape, the geography is similar, but for example, every single creature is different. Like you see, there's this Aspar, this kind of rattlesnake, giant rattlesnake type of enemy here. There was never an Aspar here in the main game. So a lot of the enemies have been completely reshuffled, and the Gormod itself looks different. Our friends at Treehouse showed Torrigoth, one of the cities here, and how different it looks when you see it in the story expansion. So yeah, you're gonna have to re-explore here Gormod, and you can also see as I'm walking through the fields that there are some small enhancement also to the graphics of the game compared to the main game. It is a bit more detailed. The field of grass is there's more variation. It's slightly improved.
Just to come back to your point about Torrigoth and how it looks very different compared to the story of the main game, I think this again is one of those examples where, when you are new to the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 universe, Torrigoth, as it is in Torna the Golden Country, that's your first Torrigoth.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have already played the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 main game, then it will be like, oh wow, this is very different from how I know Torrigoth.
Yes.
And this is how, as Filippo mentioned earlier, these two entry points come together. They give a different experience, but those experiences supplement each other.
Right.
Yes. So let's go back to this community system that I was speaking. So communities are, whenever you talk to a character, basically you will form a map of a community. So here I can show you, for example, my community is this. At the moment, these are all of the important NPCs I've talked about so far. And for example, here you even see that this guy with an exclamation mark on the UI gave me a quest. You can also see which quest it was. So you really form a map of all of your social connection. And when you help somebody out and you solve their quest line, then you would see the people going from the outside, they will come into the inner circle and they will become your supporters.
Yeah.
This is connected to another new mechanic in Torna the Golden Country story expansion, which is the crafting system. So you'll see here that I have talked to this guy here, Hassan, who is giving me a quest in Lasham Cove. The quest is called A Taste of Home. And in this quest, this guy is very far away from home. He's a person from Morardain, and he wants us to cook for him a special dish. Mm-hmm. And we can do this in the campsite. So as I approach the campsite, campsites also replace inns of the main game. So you can rest and gain experience that you got through quests, for example. You can also chat, and you have some scenes, some optional scenes that go even deeper into the story if you want. They're not necessary to understand the storyline, but just, relationship between characters and things like that. And finally, you have the crafting system that has been really beautified by these amazing chibi-style portraits.
I can see where this is going.
Yes, and you can see that every character actually has their own crafting. So, for the quest that we want to solve, we go with Jin. Jin has home cooking, and you can craft food that will buff you, that will give you temporary improvements. And one of these is the Chilsanian kasha, which is this recipe that this guy asked us to cook, Hassan. So now we've cooked. We go out of this menu, and I will quickly go to the Lashenkov. There's no need to hide this part very quickly.
I like how you have managed to, again, be able to talk about food in a video in the RedCube.
Right.
I know that food is a passion of both you and Tim.
That's
so.
true. Last year we talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
This time it's kind of low till now, but now it's back.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Passion, I think, is too small a word. But so anyway, the home sim mechanic Hassan is getting his food delivered, and just have a look at this quest. If you remember, also the tropes and jokes about cooking in the main game, no?
Yeah,
So
sure.
he's really happy. This looks perfect. Let me have a taste.
He likes it.
Yeah, mouth-watering, sweet sauce, top-notch cooking.
Nice.
But this is not Chilsanian cuisine. And why? Because Morardain is this very industrial
Yeah.
titan, right? And so
It's
too
just
good.
too delicious.
It's too good. And yeah, basically saying that his mother doesn't cook this good. Yes. So now,
I just happen to know the right person for the job.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
someone
think-
in my mind.
I remember the cooking of some of the characters in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the main story.
was not that much up to par, right? Yeah. So now, if you look at the notification, it just gave us the deluxe version of that dish that Mithra can cook this time.
Okay,
So,
small hint.
Yeah, a small hint. I mean, you know, as I was referencing before, the jokes that people make about Mithra's cooking in the main game. So now we go back to the campsite, and we go for Mithra's crafting skill.
Can you really
Which
call it a
is-
craft?
Well,
I mean,
they
yeah,
call it creative cuisine. And if you actually look at the recipes, they're all like disgusting mixes of monsters and things like that. So now we have here the Chilsanian Kasha Deluxe, which has been given to us as a new recipe via the quest line. We cook it, and then we go back to the ship. Lashan Cove, there we go.
So, would you ever try Mithra's cooking in real life?
No, I'm not so keen on it.
I'll try everything once. So we go back to Hassan, and let's see what he says now. So we did cook Tamardanian food.
So good.
Oh, maybe actually maybe she was better Mithra before.
Maybe.
Okay, so he didn't try it yet. Rubbish. So, spices are too much, lentils are horrible.
Completely
disgusting.
Poor guy, he must have had a terrible childhood.
I mean, it must be like some sort of PTSD trauma that like he goes back to. Yeah, so we managed to cook just as badly as his mother, and we triggered his nostalgia. So I think we've done something good for him,
Yeah.
despite what one might think.
So, I think we've earned his support.
Yes, and you can see now, Hassan becomes, from just an acquaintance, he becomes one of our supporters.
Nice.
You get some more information about the quest that you just did, and here you go. He becomes one of your supporters. So, when you get new supporters, sometimes you get new recipes. You don't just craft food, you also craft items that can permanently improve your characters. And it's a quite nice system, I think, because it really pushes you to talk to everybody, to really form a map of your connection, of your social connections.
Well,
in the
but it
world.
also it also visualizes it very easily because
Yes.
it's very easily grouped, and you know as soon as they are part of your inner circle that you've done something for them.
Yeah.
And he gains this beautiful smiley face icon to showcase that he's one of our supporters. So yeah, this system I think is really nice. We got here recipes because they were given to us during the quest line. But sometimes you even get new recipes as you made them part of your community.
Oh, okay.
So like after they become part of your supporters, then they will give you new recipes.
So helping people out will means that you can craft more recipes in terms of items and food and
Exactly. Yeah, this is quite interesting, I think, as a mechanic, and as I said, it is completely new. There are so many things that have been added to this game. As I said, we say it's roughly 30-40 hours of content. As you well know, you can dig down and you can make this an infinite game, but this is a system that sort of takes the place of the Titan development.
Yeah.
You remember the 5 stars thing that was much longer as a system because it was encompassing the entire game, which was much bigger, of course, the main game. This sort of substitutes that in a new, interesting, and fresh way. Just like the combat system has been changed to offer something fresh if you have played the entire main
I'm excited to try it.
Yes, I mean, I was really surprised when I saw it for the first time because there's really so much. We didn't get into all of the details. There would be too much to talk about. I mean, we would make this segment easily 2 or 3 hours, you know, that we can do it. But now we want to talk about something else that's also related to Torna. Something else that's also related to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. As you know, we also have updated the main game quite substantially compared to the release. And when you purchase the expansion pass, we've given additional rare blades, additional quests, and even a whole new challenge mode that I don't know if you've tried, but really, again, makes you play the game in a completely different way.
Yeah, plus, of course, the story expansion to one of the Golden Countries is part of the expansion pass.
Exactly. As I said at the beginning,
Yeah.
if you have purchased the expansion pass for the main game, you will basically have it automatically downloaded to your console on the 14th of September.
Yeah.
But we are still updating also the expansion pass content for the main game.
Ooh.
Yes. And we actually have a very, very, very special announcement to make. And actually, we want to make this announcement through a completely new video that for the very first time in the world we see here in the RedCube. So when we can watch this video, I'm just not gonna say what it is, we're just gonna play it.
Great.
I see. So you're my enemies, then. Only this many, though? I'll have to tell him to crank up the difficulty next time. Sliding Slinger!
Yes.
Yes. So Elma, the famous character from Xenoblade Chronicles X, makes an appearance in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 if you have purchased the expansion pass. And she appears, of course we have some hints of how she appears. We're not going to go into much details on how she appears in the game, but she's there, just like Rex and some other characters have appeared before from Xenoblade Chronicles 1. We have also...
Shulk, you mean?
Sorry, Shulk. Oops.
Yeah.
Whoa, mama. That was a big mistake.
Can happen to the
I
best
will
of us,
never
Filippo.
forgive it. But anyway,
But that's not all.
that's not all, exactly. That is not all, because we are also releasing an entirely new rare blade, and this rare blade is called Corvin. We have a piece of artwork here to show how this rare blade looks. Here you go. This is Corvin, that is a very powerful rare blade that can smash. So there are not too many blades that can use the ability smash, so it's quite important, I think, for people that want to really expand into the end game, reach the super bosses. It will be a very, very strong character that you can use to enhance your party in the main game if you have purchased the expansion pass content. And so I'm also very, very happy to say that this content will be available shortly after this presentation. So
Both Elma and Corvin.
exactly, both Elma and Corvin will be available for you to download if you have purchased the expansion pass just after this video. I mean, a bit after this video.
I'm so sorry, I have to go now. I have to go home
Yes.
and
Well,
download it.
In that case, let's just quickly wrap up.
Yeah.
Because Torna, the Golden Country story expansion, releases as part of the expansion pass on the 14th of September and as a standalone software in shops on the 21st of September.
Nice.
So I hope you guys are looking forward to it. We will be sinking a lot more hours into the software, I think.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I wanted to add, obviously I said something that wasn't totally correct. I said that you meet Nia in Gormod for the very first time. I know that's not correct, but I think you guys know what I meant with spending some quality time with her, getting to know her better and everything in Rearguard and Gormod in general. So I hope you guys don't rip me apart now. So thank you very much for tuning in today, and I hope you guys are with us for the next Nintendo RedCube show. Chris, Filippo, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tim.
I'm excited for the game, and I hope so are you. So see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.